Dear job seekers, it's 2026. And yes, robots can do almost everything now. You say you want to work from home. I say you don't even need to show up at all. You work at a snail's pace, at double the cost, using quadruple the space. And then wonder why employers are rethinking the workforce. That's exactly why I created this podcast. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Like and subscribe to learn more.
Before we begin today, a quick grounding note.
This episode is for general, informational, and educational purposes.
It's not legal advice, employment advice, or a substitute for professional guidance.
Environmental, safety, and employment laws can overlap, evolve, and apply differently depending on facts.
If you need advice about your specific situation, speak with a qualified professional or the appropriate regulator.
With that in mind, let's get into episode 5.
Welcome back to Working in Ontario. Today's episode is about the laws that quietly shape your job, even when no one talks about them.
Because many workers assume employment law is the whole picture. It isn't.
Environmental rules, contamination controls, spill reporting, waste handling, air quality, water safety. These laws apply inside workplaces every single day.
And when they're ignored, the consequences don't land softly. They land through inspections, shutdowns, investigations, and sometimes criminal charges.
Let's start with the basics. Environmental law is not just about forests and wildlife.
In Ontario, environmental law governs how workplaces handle substances, emissions, waste, noise, water, soil, and contamination.
If your job involves chemicals, fuels, solvents, dust, wastewater, or even excessive noise, environmental law is already involved.
And the primary statute is Ontario's Environmental Protection Act, often called the EPA.
Here's the misconception. Employees think environmental law is only an employer problem.
It's not.
Employees can be disciplined, terminated, or personally investigated if they knowingly violate environmental controls.
Following unsafe instructions is not a legal shield.
And, I didn't know, only works once, if at all.
Environmental protection and occupational health are deeply connected.
Many environmental hazards are also worker hazards, airborne contaminants, toxic exposures, unsafe disposal, leaks, and spills.
That's why the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training and Skills Development works alongside the Ministry of the Environment.
If an environmental issue threatens worker safety, both ministries may be involved.
Let's say a workplace stores chemicals improperly.
That's an environmental violation.
But if fumes expose workers, it becomes a health and safety issue.
2 laws, 2 enforcement tracks, 1 incident.
I work in manufacturing. If my employer tells me to dump waste in a way I think is wrong, can I be disciplined for refusing?
Short answer, no, not lawfully.
You have the right to refuse unsafe or illegal work. That includes environmental violations that pose risk.
Document the instruction. Ask questions, escalate properly.
Blind compliance can put your job and your freedom at risk.
The EPA exists to protect air, land, and water from harm.
It applies to employers, managers, supervisors, and workers performing regulated activities.
It covers spills, discharges, improper storage, and failure to report incidents.
And reporting is not optional.
Many workers don't realize this. If a spill occurs, it must be reported immediately.
Delays increase penalties.
Reports are made to Ontario's Spills Action Centre.
And yes, workers can report directly.
Environmental incidents may be investigated by the Ministry of the Environment, the Ministry of Labor, municipal authorities, or all 3.
And once an investigation starts, documentation becomes critical.
Employees should document dates and times, instructions received, substances involved, witnesses, and photos if permitted to do so.
This protects you if blame shifts later.
Can I get fired for reporting an environmental issue?
Retaliation for reporting legal violations is prohibited.
But retaliation still happens, which is why documentation matters.
Report professionally. Follow internal processes when safe. Escalate externally if necessary.
Employers sometimes cut corners,
Cost savings are not a defense.
and employees are not protected by, "I was told to do it."
This brings us to WMIS.
The Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System.
WMIS ensures workers understand hazardous substances they handle.
Labels, safety data sheets, training, all required.
Environmental mishandling often starts with WMIS failures.
Policies, access controls, procedures, these are legal controls.
They exist to prevent harm before it happens.
Ignoring controls is not a minor breach.
If a customer causes an environmental issue, like dumping waste, who is responsible?
Responsibility depends on control.
If your employer controls the site, they must respond.
Employees still must report and document.
Reporting is not about punishment.
It's about traceability.
When incidents are reported early, damage is reduced.
When they're hidden, consequences multiply.
Job seekers should ask questions about environmental practices.
Silence is a red flag.
Ethical workplaces train workers properly.
Compliance is part of being employable.
Ignorance is not a skill. Environmental law isn't separate from work. It lives inside it.
Health, safety, environment, they rise and fall together.
If you understand the rules, you protect yourself. There's one more reality workers should understand: how common environmental complaints actually are in Ontario.
Publicly reported government statistics show that Ontario receives thousands of environmental-related complaints every year.
These complaints include improper waste disposal, air quality concerns, chemical handling issues, water contamination, noise violations, and unsafe storage of hazardous materials.
Not every complaint leads to enforcement, but every complaint is logged, assessed, and triaged.
Some are resolved through education, others lead to inspections, and a smaller number escalate into formal investigations, orders, or prosecutions.
What matters for workers is this: environmental enforcement is active, not theoretical.
Inspections can be triggered by employee reports, public complaints, municipal referrals, or routine compliance checks.
And once an investigation begins, investigators look at systems, policies, training, and individual actions.
Which means workers are often interviewed, emails are reviewed, procedures are examined.
Environmental enforcement doesn't start with punishment, but it can end there if negligence or concealment is found.
This is why awareness matters. Most people involved in investigations never expected to be.
Let's end with something practical: WMIS certification.
WMIS isn't just for factory workers or lab technicians.
Teachers, engineers, custodians, maintenance staff, care workers, contractors.
If your role brings you into contact with cleaning chemicals, science materials, maintenance supplies, fuels, or controlled substances, WMIS applies.
Even workplaces that seem low risk often use hazardous products daily.
WMIS training ensures you understand labels, safety data sheets, exposure risks, and emergency procedures.
And it's not complicated to obtain.
WMIS certification can be completed online, often in under a few hours, through Ontario-certified training providers.
Many employers require it before you start work. Others expect you to already have it.
From a worker's perspective, it's one of the simplest ways to protect yourself, legally and physically.
Training demonstrates diligence. Lack of training becomes a liability.
In investigations, one of the first questions asked is whether workers were properly trained.
WMIS isn't paperwork, it's protection. That's why this podcast exists, not to scare you, but to prepare you.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you for listening.
Like, subscribe, and tune in next week for more episodes on working in Ontario.